Every plot of land has two prices. There's the one written on the listing, the asking price. And there's the one that actually changed hands when it's sold, the sold price. And in most of the world, you are only ever shown the first one. The asking price is a marketing number. It's a hope, an opening bid, a story the seller tells. The sold price is the truth, and almost everywhere, it's hidden, locked away, so buyers negotiate completely blind against people who do know. Except in one country, which did something almost no government dares to do. It took every single property sale and published it, for everyone, for free. I read land for a living, the data under it and the data about it, across dozens of countries. And what that one decision reveals will change how you read every price you ever see. This is land value, read honestly. The country that made every price public, and how to find the real number anywhere else. Start with the gap that everything in this episode hangs on. The asking price and the sold price are not the same number, and the distance between them is where you make or lose money. In a soft market, plots sell well below asking. And if you only ever see the asking prices, you'll think the whole area is more expensive than it really is, and you'll overpay. In a hot market, it runs the other way. Either way, judging value from asking prices is like judging someone's salary from what they say they earn. The only honest anchor is what comparable plots actually sold for, the comps. Professionals live and die by comps. And the entire problem, in most countries, is that the comps are invisible. The sold prices exist, recorded by some land registry or tax office, but you can't see them. So here's the country that simply let everyone see. In 2019, France did something quietly radical. Through a law called ESSOC, the tax authority took its register of property transactions, every sale, going back years, and published it as open data. It's called DVF, Demande de Valeurs Foncières, and it turned one of Europe's more opaque property markets into one of its most transparent, almost overnight. Anyone can open the public map and see what plots actually sold for, by address, the price, the date, the size, the type. And behind that map sit the raw files, around 20 million transactions, downloadable, going back to 2014, with millions more added every year. Think about what that means. For a French plot, you don't have to guess the market from asking prices and rumor. You can pull the real sold prices of the plots around it and triangulate a genuine value before you make an offer. That is a superpower most of the world's buyers simply don't have. And it costs nothing. Now, there are honest limits, and they matter. Let's be precise about what this data is and isn't. The public map shows roughly the last 5 years, rolling. The downloadable archive reaches back to 2014. It's updated about twice a year, in spring and autumn, with a lag of several months between a sale and its appearance. So it's a rear-view mirror, not live. It covers built property and bare land, which is exactly what we care about on this channel. It is fully anonymized. You see the plot and the price, never the names, and that's the right line. This is about value, not people. And there are 2 regions it doesn't cover, Alsace-Moselle and Mayotte, which run different land registries. But for most of France, you get something genuinely powerful. Stand on a plot, pull the sales around it from the last few years, and read a real market, not a hopeful one. The data isn't perfect or current, but imperfect and real beats polished and imaginary every single time you're about to spend serious money. So here's the signature problem and the portable fix. Your country almost certainly does not publish a DVF. Most don't. Some do. England and Wales have price-paid data, free and public. The Netherlands and the Nordics have registries, often paid. But in much of the world, sold prices are private, and you're back to negotiating blind. The portable method, when the comps aren't free, is to go and find the people who hold them. First, the land registry or notary. In many countries, the transaction is recorded by a notary or a registry. Sometimes you can request a figure, sometimes a professional can pull it. Second, the agent's, plural. One agent's market price is a sales pitch. Three agents' independent estimates, triangulated, start to bracket reality, especially if you ask them to justify each number with actual recent sales they know of. Third, the failed listings, plots that sat unsold for a year tell you the ceiling, the price the market refused. No open database. Then you assemble your own comp set by hand, from registries, agents, and patients. It's more work. But the principle never changes. Anchor to real transactions, never to asking prices. Now the trap that fools people even when they have the data. Price per square meter. It feels like the great equalizer. Divide price by size, compare across plots, done. And it lies, constantly, because it averages things that should never be averaged. A single neighborhood average of, say, €3,000 a square meter might be blending a derelict ruin, a tired renovation project, a turnkey new build, and a once-in-a-decade prime sale, for completely different products, mashed into one misleading figure. For land specifically, it's even worse, because a small plot and a large plot almost never cost the same per square meter. Buyers pay a premium per meter for small, build-ready plots and a discount for large ones. So a raw price, per M superscript 2 comparison between a tiny infill plot and a big field is meaningless. The fix isn't to abandon the metric, it's to compare like with like, similar size, similar zoning, similar readiness, similar date. A median of truly comparable sales tells you something. A blended average of everything tells you nothing, confidently. Here's the deeper move, the one that separates buyers from investors. When you read a sold price, you're not just reading a number, you're reading what the market valued. And for a plot, the value almost never lives in the dirt itself. It lives in what you're allowed to do with the dirt. Strip the buildings away and the land's price is driven by the things this whole channel keeps circling back to. What the zoning lets you build, whether services, water, power, drainage, are at the boundary or a fortune away, how the slope and the ground affect the build cost, the access, the views, the path of growth. Two identical-looking fields at the same price per meter can be worth wildly different amounts the moment you ask what can actually be built here, and for what cost. So when you pull comps, don't just match the price, match the buildable reality. A cheap-looking plot with no services and tight zoning isn't cheap. And an expensive-looking one with full permission and services at the gate might be the bargain. The sold price is the answer. The land's potential is the question it answered. One more thing the open data hands you that asking prices never can. A real trend. With 5 years of actual sales, you can see whether a place is genuinely rising, flat, or quietly falling. Not what agents say is happening, but what buyers actually paid, year on year. And here you read honestly, both ways. A market that's climbed steeply for 5 years isn't a promise it continues. It might mean you're arriving at the top. A flat or dipping market isn't automatically a warning. It might be the patience the smart money is waiting on. The trend doesn't tell you what to do. It tells you where you are in the cycle, so your offer is anchored to reality instead of to a headline. And notice the discipline. You can only read a trend like this where the sold data exists. Everywhere else, the market's really moving is just a sentence, and a sentence is not a comp. Step back, and DVF tells you something about data and power. Property is the biggest purchase most people ever make, and in most of the world the single most important fact about it, what things really sell for, is deliberately kept from the buyer. Not because it doesn't exist. It always exists. Someone recorded that transaction. It's kept private because opacity benefits the people who already know. France's Quiet Radical Act was to decide that the public who pay for the land deserve to see its real prices. And slowly, that idea is spreading. more registries opening, more price paid, data sets going public, country by country. The hazard here isn't a flood or a gas. It's an information asymmetry. And the escape hatch is the same discipline every time. Refuse to anchor to asking prices, hunt down the real transactions wherever they hide, and compare like with like. Where the data's open, it's a gift. Where it's closed, it's a hunt. Either way, you read the sold number, never the story. So back to where we started, the two prices every plot has. Here's the honest version. The asking price is what someone hopes. The sold price is what the market decided. And the entire game of buying land well is refusing to confuse the two. France proved it's possible to give every buyer the real numbers, 20 million of them, for free. Most countries haven't. But the method travels. Anchor to real transactions, find them wherever they're recorded, compare like with like, read the land's potential under the price, and read the trend without kidding yourself. Do that, and you stop negotiating against people who can see the board while you're playing blind. Quick honest note. This is educational, not financial or valuation advice. For a real decision, get proper local comps and a professional. And pulling the best available value layer for any plot, the open sold prices where they exist, the comparable evidence, and the land potential read where they don't. That's literally the tool I built. It's called Parcella. It's mine, and the link's in the description. If reading land like this is your kind of thing, stick around. The channel is full of it. See you in the next one.